Good afternoon and welcome. And again, offload. Beautiful ball. Back inside of Martin. He beats one, beats two. Goes to Doak. He dances round. Long ball. Goes across to Buckman. Puts it on the toe. He kicked through, followed through, regathered. It's catch, drop, scrum. Scored the try. And the flags go up. Mix up. Hit the foot race. He's ahead of Barber. Will he get there? I think he got there.
One round to go of the Intrust Super Cup and the top five is still undecided. Hello and welcome to the Full 80, a complete overview of the Intrust Super Cup and Ipswich Rugby League competitions. My name's Ben Dobbin and today I'm joined by some of the biggest names in Queensland Rugby League. Greg Jacko Lyons, the marketing manager for the Ipswich Jets Rugby Leagues Club. Mick Newton, A-grade coach for North Rugby Leagues Club. Shane Walker, one of the head coaches of the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. And making his debut on the Full 80, Chris Gary, journalist for the Courier Mail. G'day, gentlemen.
How's it going, Dobbo?
Good. Massive weekend last weekend, and the water is still very muddy after 25 rounds of Intrust Super Cup football. 6 teams stay in contention for 5 spots. Let's have a look at last weekend's results. The Tweed Head Seagulls, they defeated the Sunshine Coast Falcons 26 points to 4. Jacko, how'd you find that?
Dobbo, Tweed ventured north just to play a game of football. South didn't. Sunshine Coast didn't. They're just going through the motions at the moment to finish the season.
Yeah, where are they going? Have they booked their trip?
I would say it probably down to Caloundra.
Yeah.
That's just probably all they can afford.
Perfect. Last year's premiers, the Mackay Cutters, they did a job on the CQ Capras, Mick.
Yeah, Mackay at home, they were just way too good for the Capras at home.
Yeah, 40 points to 20. The PNG Hunters, they defeated the South Logan Magpies 44 points to 14. Chris Gary, how'd you see that game?
Dobbo, they needed a big win, and that's exactly what they got, so there's still a chance for the finals. However, Gary Lowe does have an ankle injury and may not be there if they make it.
Yeah, huge loss if they lose the cult hero, Gary Lowe. East Tigers defeated the Burleigh Bears 30 points to 14. The North Devils, they defeated Redcliffe. What a shellacking, 48 points to 14. But the game that all of Ipswich were following, the Northern Pride, unfortunately defeated the Ipswich Jets 30 points to 6. Let's drill down. Shane Walker, what happened?
Mate, I think that at the end of the day, the scoreline was not a good indication of the game. The game was in the balance probably up until about 13 minutes to go. We had a try unfortunately disallowed. We're over the line and Namani chose to put it down one hand and was a little bit contentious as to whether he did score it. Obviously it was disallowed, much to our disappointment, but we certainly, we felt like we probably had him on toast at that point. We were full of running. They had no interchange left, and unfortunately at the back end of that tap restart, 7-tackle tap restart, we made an error. Young Carlin went into touch, and from the subsequent scrum they scored, blew the scoreline out a little bit, and then from there we started playing a little bit of catch up, throwing the ball around, some pretty chancy sort of passes which didn't stick, and hence the scoreline. But we were pretty happy with it.
I want to ask both of you coaches, Mick, and is it frustrating as a coach when you see a player with these one-hand put-downs? I mean, we all played rugby league. We were all trained 2 hands for beginners, and it was when we're starting off. What do you say to your players if they bomb a try with a one-hand put-down, Mick?
We got a lot of focus even at training just to make sure the boys put the ball down over the line. A lot of time at training they go through the motions and just run through, but we have a lot of focus on making sure that they get the ball to the ground. It is very frustrating when you start dropping ball when you're in good position, and certain 4 points goes out the window.
Namani, they tell me he was devastated in the dressing rooms after. It would have taken the score to 14-10 with a kick to come. All the pressure would be on the Northern Pride then. What did you say to him post-game?
Yeah, well, he was very disappointed, and he was probably more disappointed because we'd pulled him up a couple of weeks ago now when we played Sunshine Coast. It would have been, had he scored that one, it would have been the try of the year, but he tried to extend the ball and get it out in one hand and got it knocked out that day. He's a Fijian, he's a casual dude, but he certainly was remonstrating with himself after the game because he did know that he probably should have just kept it under his wing and dived, but that happened and we've got to move on.
Well, it doesn't get any easier for Ipswich. Let's have a look at the ladder after 25 rounds of Intrust Super Cup football. The Northern Pride at 44 points. They'll take out the minor premiership. The East Tigers are currently on 37, then followed by Wynnum Manly Seagulls at 36. This is where it gets very tight. The Tweed Head Seagulls on 33. The Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets on 32. And in sixth spot, with the bye pending, the PNG Hunters on 31. Interesting times. It doesn't get any easier. The Jets must win against Redcliffe this weekend if they are to go through. If not, the PNG Hunters, in their first year of the Intrust Super Cup, they actually then make the five, which we don't want to see that happen with the Jets, but a great story. They've been very consistent for their first year in the footy wall, the Hunters.
Well, it's a good story to this point, Dobbo, but we certainly don't want to see them in the playoffs, and the destiny's in our own hands. So, which is where you want to be. We've got to go there and do a job on the weekend, and well, if we can't, we certainly don't deserve to be in the playoffs and won't be so, but we'll take care of business on the weekend.
I think it'll be right. The IRL Awards happened last weekend in Ipswich. Rookie of the Year was Jacob Lindsay from the Brothers Rugby Leagues Club in Ipswich. The People's Choice Award, it was a hard one. Josh Afoa from Brothers Rugby League, he won the People's Choice Award. Now, the IRL Player of the Year, Mick, who won that?
Josh Roberts, he's our leader for Norths, and and he's had a bottler of a year. Competes in every single game, and he's a great leader.
Yeah, huge raps on him though. So he's been one of the superstars.
The last couple of years, this is probably his best year he's had in the last 3 or 4 years. Anyway, so he's really taken a lot of responsibility and a lot of leadership in the squad at the moment.
Chris, you see a lot of these IRL players stepping up. You did a lot of time out here at Ipswich, 4 years for the QT. You see a lot of these next generation of stars really cutting their mustard in the IRL.
Dobbo, in fact, one of the guys who's starring now for the Jets, Wes Conlon, I remember when he was absolutely carving everyone up for Swifts and won Player of the Year that year. And I had a chat to him and I was asking about NRL, and at the time he wasn't really that interested in NRL or Q Cup. He just wanted to go and play footy. But I'm sure you agree. I think he's got NRL potential, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not dissimilar to when Benny Barber was at his best, slicing teams up, and Matt Bowen. He's a very similar player, very instinctual, fast, great step, and the game needs these smaller men.
One thing he has got is a post-game try celebration with him, Wes Conlon, one of the best in the bed. Still to come, plenty more. After the break, a fantastic interview with one of the future stars of the Ipswich Jets and who is the best player in the Intrust Super Cup. This is the Full 80, a break and back with more. Welcome back to the Full 80. The Ipswich Jets are all about developing their own talent. This year, they've unearthed a number of future stars. Carlin Anderson made his Intrust Super Cup debut this year as an 18-year-old. We caught up with him at Jets training this week.
So, Carlin, how long have you been playing for the Jets?
It's my first year, just here at Ipswich Jets, yeah.
So how does it feel knowing that they've chosen you to represent the club?
I guess it's a pretty good honour being one of the youngest players in the team, and yeah, it's pretty good to hear that from the club team.
And do you think that they judge that on your technical skills or more of your attitude towards the club and the community?
Probably on field. I like the club a lot. Get treated well here. It's a good club. Walkers treat you well. Yeah, I like to train too, which is good. But yeah, probably on field most of all.
Yeah, and what actually do you do on the field? What's your position?
I play wing, sometimes go into the middle, and pretty much just fill in wherever injury is.
Yeah, he is one of the future stars of the Ipswich Jets. I don't know how long he will be playing Intrust Super Cup. It's my understanding that the Brisbane Broncos are very keen on him. He's not far away from signing a contract with the Broncos. Great point. Ipswich, it's just a nursery for talent. Some of the big names, Landon Hayes, Matt Parcells, Wes Conlon. Who do you guys see as the future for the Jets going forward?
Oh, I'd probably go to Landon Hayes. He's come through Colts quite well and being given the opportunity in Colts, in the top squad. And proved himself, but just needs more match fitness up the top end, that's all, but doing well in the bottom.
Yeah, you coached him. What do you find?
Well, I coached him in Mel Meninga and in Cyril Connell, and see a lot of good kids coming through in that nursery at the moment. And Landon is going really well at the moment. It was good to get his chance on the weekend.
Yeah, he made his debut on Saturday afternoon. Funny story. Just talk us through how it all played out for him.
Yeah, so we'd taken him up as 18th man to give him a bit of experience, and also the Fogs had a must-win game, so Lace needed a full complement there. We took him up. We had the warm-up, we went off, and as we were walking off, he turned his jersey inside out so that it was evident as he was the 18th man not to play. And Brendan Marshall grabbed us and said, "I'm no good here, my hamstring's no good." So we had to say, "Flip your jersey back around, you're going on, son." So it was probably the way you want to do it.
Sure. Didn't have time to think about it. Chris, who do you think is one of the rising stars in the Ipswich Jets?
Dobbo, there is a man mountain out in the west called Tepa Fuavali. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'll call him Tepa. But he's 200 centimetres. The Reds are desperate for him. They view him as a James Hallwell type lock.
Yep.
But my mail is he'll stay solid with the Jets, mate.
Stay solid. Know what the management are talking to him? It's your understanding?
My understanding, mate. Sources revealed.
Well, he's actually known as Tepper Went around training the CEO Wayne Went.
He loves him.
He's adopted him.
Yeah, look, it's on the rise for the Ipswich, and there is some fantastic players. Which leads me to the next thing, the MVP of the Intrust Super Cup. Right, I gave you this question yesterday, gentlemen, so we're all on the dunghill. Jacko, your MVP of the Intrust Super Cup.
Well, obviously, I'm pro Jets, and I'd like to see some, more Jets boys, but we can only have one, so it's good that Nem's there. But probably Gary Lowe from the Hunters. I think he's done really well. He's, unfortunately gone out with an ankle injury. We won't know if that finishes the season. Well, it will, because their season's done. But he's done really well for the Hunters and really led by example.
Yeah, he's not bad. What do you reckon?
Cameron Muster's going really well. He scored a double on the weekend, fullback for the East Tigers, so he's a rocky boy, so he's really stepping up.
He is a huge talent. Cameron Munster, I mean, he's obviously signed with the Melbourne Storm, and with the Capras last year, everybody was talking about him. He moves down, he plays for East. I mean, you've seen him firsthand, Chris. You guys have covered him. He's off this planet.
Yeah, well, last year, myself and Ben probably largely regarded him as the best player in the comp. As an 18-year-old playing for Capras, he got them as, to the point where they were. And now that he's at the Storm, I think he's potentially a representative player in the NRL.
Yeah, Chris, what's your take on him?
I think he's sensational. He's got these hips. He just stays upright. Like he's not that big, is he?
No,
he's quite wiry, like a Daly Cherry Evans type build. But when you hit him, he just stays upright. He's got a flick. He's got it all. I think he'll be the Slater's replacement, and I think he'll play for Queensland one day.
Yeah, it's interesting. Each team has a player that they can't deal with, and we bring it back to the Ipswich Jets. And I know this is a long shot. Matt Parcells, to me, is the most valuable player that the Ipswich Jets have got. Now, you're surrounded by superstars. Nemani Valakapa, Kieran Lander, Sam Martin, these players, out-and-out superstars. Rod Griffin. But what Matt Parcell has done in the Intrust Super Cup this year, to me, he has dominated every single hooker, dummy half, and to me, he's clear-cut outstanding.
Yeah, well, he has fast become the best hooker in our competition. And I don't say that lightly, like the likes of Jake Granville. And I'd regard him as a better player than Jake Granville at this point. Wow. And therefore, I think Granville's probably doing a better job than the current Broncos hooker. So it's a fair rap. He's NRL ready-made, ready to go. And
are they talking to him? Are there NRL clubs aware that Matt Parcell? I mean, it's a great story, and you guys have all been around him. He's played for the Bombers. He's a local. His old man's a builder. He's cut his teeth in this IRL competition.
North Tigers boy.
North Tigers boy. Yeah. Unbelievable. We've got to plug the North Tigers. Just a nursery. But in seriously, you guys. He is dominating sides, and so surely there's some teams out there that must be looking for. I mean, we don't want to say the Cowboys this year. Obviously, they've signed Granville, but they've been in desperate need. You can go up the highway. With Beau Falloon and Matt Schramer, with injuries, they've been short of a hooker at the Titans. Even the Broncos next year are going to need a backup hooker. With obviously McCulloch.
Yeah, well, the Broncos do need one. Granville was only getting 10 minutes off the bench for the Broncos, which is why he left. He didn't see a future there. So that's the thing for Matt. If he went to the Broncos, McCulloch plays 70 minutes. So in my mind, I don't think that'd be the best option for him. At the Titans, though, he could be a real 40-minute impact weapon, and I'm pretty sure they should be looking out there for him, and hopefully they sign him up.
Do you know if there's any talk of...
No, not as such. I don't know at this point whether he's had any offers, but I'm not too sure whether it's because he wears 22 every week. The jersey that he started in this year, we're a bit superstitious, so we don't put him back into the 9. But whether that's had an influence, surely not. They must be looking with their eyes wide shut.
Yeah, interesting times. We can go back talking about the East Tigers with Cameron Munster and stuff like that. They've got an array of talent, and I mean, they just keep on getting better. I know we're focusing on the Tigers, but to me, they're the biggest threats to the Jets' chances of winning a premiership. This Cody Walker, that huge raps on him.
Oh, he played fantastic on the weekend and set up a great try on the wing, just from a kick. But he always seems to be where the ball is, and always seems to know where to put the ball, and that's one of his big assets. But, you know, as you say, full of talent, the East side, and, you know, I'd be worrying about them before I'd be worrying about the Pride.
Who do you see as your biggest threat when you go out? If you had to pick a player that you wouldn't want to come up against, the Jets as a team, who do you see in this whole Intra Super Cup competition?
Yeah, look, it's definitely Cameron Munster. He's a real handful. He's a as Chris said earlier, he's got these hips. He somehow breaks tackles. I think he's leading the comp in tackle breaks. He must be nearly up there in tries as well. So he's a definite threat.
Yeah, I don't know what Melbourne are going to do with these blokes, because I mean they've got Billy Slater there. You would say he would have another 2 years at least. So does he come off the bench, or is it just a progression of him playing Intra Super Cup, Cameron Munster, and then finally, I mean, he might play in the centres or something like that, but he's an out-and-out fullback.
Yeah, he is, but I think he's an out-and-out footballer. He could come off the bench and you could play him anywhere. He could play lock. Locks these days aren't big men, you know, as such. He can play at fullback. They've played him in the halves for the under-20s, so he could pretty much play anywhere.
Yeah, interesting times, and I'm sure there's plenty of discussion about who actually is the most valuable player in the competition. After the break, we're going to preview round 26 of the Intra Super Cup. The Ipswich Rugby League semi-finals, they commence this weekend, and I've brought my crystal ball back. I'm going to tell you the final round total prediction. Stay with us. This is the Full 80. Welcome back to the Full 80, not long till full time. A massive weekend of rugby league in the round 26 of the Intra Super Cup. The Tweedhead Seagulls, they'll take on the Mackay Cutters at 2 p.m. at Perigium Sports. Burleigh Bears versus the Northern Pride. South Logan take on the Sunny Coast. East Tigers play the Wynnum Manly Seagulls. The North Devils play the CQ Capras. The PNG Hunters have the bye. But the game that we will all be following, that is the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets versus the Redcliffe Dolphins, North Ipswich Reserve, 2:30 p.m. Boy, oh boy, haven't we got a game of football about to take place. The simple scenario is, if the Jets win, they make the 5. If they don't, the Hunters will come through and make the 5.
Yeah, well, we, as I said earlier, we've definitely got a lot to say about that. Destiny's in our own hands. It's Old Boys Day, so there's a lot on the line. There's a semi-final place, and we've been, despite having 2 recent losses, we've been playing really well for the last 6 weeks, so we're more than confident.
I would say, Chris, that on form and statistics, Redcliffe have been very disappointing this year but the Jets should do this comfortably.
Yeah, they should. Redcliffe are awful. Seriously, they're terrible. They're the richest club in the competition, and they're coming almost last. I mean, they're just the only teams behind them are the Central Capras and Sunny Coast. So yeah, no pressure, Shane. But Ipswich should do it comfortably, make the finals, and I think when they get there, they'll shock a lot of people.
Where are the strengths? Where are Ipswich strengths, Jacko?
Well, obviously Wes Conlon and Nemel, I think, will really carve it up. You've got Josh Cleland, always comes up with some really odd stuff towards the side. I wanted to ask injuries. We've got 2 injuries prior to the game last week, and then 2 from the game. So how are they looking for this weekend?
Yeah, Marmon Barber and Brendan Marshall should be back. Both sickness and injury, they should be fine. Josh Siege will be gone. He's fractured his scapula, so he'll require surgery.
The scapula, where's that?
It's at the back of the shoulder blade.
that's
that flat bone
Why
at
do
the
they
back.
just not call it the shoulder blade? Like,
Yeah, that's
what do
what
we
I
go
was
all this? I mean,
I don't know. They've got AC joints and
Yeah.
all these sort of
He's
things.
done his
these
shoulder.
days, but he's done his shoulder basically. And another big loss for us will be Javan White. He may have cracked his fibula or his leg bone.
his
as
leg.
they
So,
call it.
who do you replace that with? Like, Javan White, does Wes Conlon go to fullback straight away?
Yeah, Wes Conlon will go to fullback, and then we'll bring Ben White onto the bench to cover sort of a back end, a forward role, and the last position will sort of be up in the air a little bit. But Rob Worsley, a guy that played was in the Canterbury top 25 a couple of years ago, joined the RAF, went to Afghanistan. He was about to start with us last year, and he's been a really good story. He took 6 months without pay to give football one more shot, come up to the Jets, and he's made his debut this year for us, and he's going really well, so he'll feature heavily.
Yeah, well, listen, I've once again brought the crystal ball out, and if you have a look at the crystal ball on the screen at the present moment, I'll tell you how the table will sit after this round. The Northern Pride on 46, the East Tigers will be second place, 39. The winner Manly Seagulls on 36, Tweed Head at 35, and the Jets, they'll scrape in at 34, which means we'll have a Southern Death clash the following week. The Tweed Head Seagulls versus Ipswich Jets. That will be in a fortnight's time. That's my ball. IRL preview. Mick, let's quickly go through it. Southern Death, Goodner versus Fastlefern. That'll be straight after the Intrust Super Cup game at North Ipswich Reserve. I think 4:30 on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it's a great innovation actually to have the knockout playing straight after the Jets boys finish with Redcliffe on Saturday.
Yep.
So it'll be a tough game.
Who wins it?
Fastlefern have been going very well. Goodner is just starting to get a bit of momentum back again. They probably got the toughest set of forwards, but if Carly's playing and Husky's playing, then there's every chance that Fastlefern will get up.
The mail I'm getting is Damani Velakapa will back up. He'll play Intrust and then he'll come across and play for the Bombers.
He would if you let him.
Your boys are playing brothers in the top semi-final on Sunday. How will you go?
1v2. Our boys are full of confidence at the moment. We've won our last 5 games in the normal season, so we've got a bit of momentum. We've beat brothers before, and we've beat Goodner and Fastlefern as well. So we're sitting in a pretty good position. We've got a couple of boys coming back from injury, so I'm hoping we'll be full strength.
You fear no one?
Not at this stage.
Oh, it's good signs for North. Jacko, Old Boys Day, I know you've been in preparation for months about this. The biggest lunch of the year at North Ipswich Reserve and an auction after the game. All the jerseys will be auctioned.
Yes, that's correct. Look, it's the big highlight of the whole calendar for a lot of people. All the old Jets Old Boys come out of the woodwork. They fly in from all across Australia. And it's going to be a big one, obviously, this year, because with North straight afterwards, it's going to be even more crowd there. That it'll be a great innovative for that, and it's just going to be great to see guys like Alfie, all the Walters boys, all the Walker boys.
They're all
I'm sure
coming.
the boys,
all the Walker boys will be present.
Should be a great day.
Yeah, it should be.
I'm sure Shane will go in for a lemonade.
Yeah, Chris, you going to be there?
I will, mate.
Yeah.
From my time at the QT in the old days of when the Jets were affiliated with the Titans and front row Joe Tomani. Remember those days?
We brought him on, now a Wallaby.
He was about 20 kilograms heavier. So, mate, I'll be there. It's a ripper day.
Yeah, can't wait. You can catch all the action live on Phoenix Radio as well. Jacko, BL and myself will be calling the game from 2:30. That's full time from all the team here at the Full 80. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you to the students from Bremer High who have been with us, to USQ. And just remember, go the Mighty Jets.